Patsy. So I've came on this morning to do my top 5 tarot decks of 2019, which was quite difficult. Not as hard as if I was doing my oracles, but it was quite a difficult to kind of pick 5 because I do love a lot of the decks. So the way that I've done it is I've chosen 5 that I reach for all the time in 2019. There is some decks that I use specifically, you know, people to my channel will know that for certain things, like my stretch tarot I love, but I only use that for specific things, my everyday enchantment and things like that. So what I've done was I've gone for 5 decks that I reach for just for an everyday tarot reading for myself, or for others, my daily draws and things like that. I would have loved to have included the Ancestral Path because that is a gorgeous tarot, but I don't pull it an awful lot because it's too big. So that only comes out when I want to do 3 cards, because if I wanted a gypsy spread to 21 cards, or even my 9 box cut, what I like to do, I just find them a bit big to do that kind of thing. So it's a shame because yeah, that is a gorgeous deck and that would be one of my 5 favourites. So they didn't make it, but I've chosen 5 that I love, and I pull all the time, for my, like I said, for myself or for clients, or to do daily draws even, that kind of thing. So the first one, a lot of these probably won't be a surprise to regulars on my channel, is Tarot of the Hidden Realm, by Julia Jeffrey and Barbara Moore. I just love this deck. I absolutely adore this deck. Here we go. I bought this in 2018. It's a Llewellyn deck. I bought this in 2018 after I'd watched it for a few months, and I loved it, and I kept going back and looking at walkthroughs, and I just wasn't, even though I loved it, I wasn't sure I'd be able to read with it, and it kind of put me off, but I couldn't stop going back and looking at it. So in the end I thought, well, just get it. Worst comes to the worst, you've got a gorgeous deck. What images you love, so you know, you'd pay that for a photo to be put on the wall or something, so just get it. So I did. I just got it because, like I said, I love the artwork, and since I've had this deck in my hand, it just speaks to me. It doesn't matter that it's all images of the fave, you know, close-ups or impostures and what have you, because they just talk to me. I can just look at these cards and they tell me what I need to know. They tell me a story. Their voice is loud and clear for me, and I've never ever had a problem reading with this deck. I absolutely adore it, and for that reason it has to be in my top 5 because, like I said, it's just one of those decks that I pull all the time. And look at that, and the images are absolutely gorgeous, and I just love to have this in my hand. So that has got to be in my top 5, and it's the Tarot of the Hidden Realms, and I wouldn't be without that. So the next one, again, won't be no surprise because people who have been regulars on my channel know that throughout 2019, this is a deck that I rave about all the time. I just love Paulina Cassidy's work, and it's the Joie de Vivre. There we go. And again, this is one of those decks that just brings me so much happiness. Every time I pick this up, it makes me smile. It's just got a little individual voice of its own, and it's just, the images are just so sweet and so, I don't know what it is about it, but I just fell in love with this one too when I got it in my hand, and since then I was never able to put it down. And the only thing I will say is that I'm really glad that I got this in 2018 while my eyes was okay, because the images, you can't, you know, and some of them you do need to go really into the image, and obviously I can't always do that with my eyes. So I'm so glad that I got to know this and love this before my eyes started giving me trouble, because this card as one of my favourite in the deck. Absolute one of my favourites. This card stalked me for ages, this card did, and for a good reason, but it did stalk me, and I've come to love this card. I've come to adore this card, and it makes me smile every time I pick it now for a daily draw. I think, oh, okay, we're going to have this again, are we? And it's always right. And this little deck, even though it's got this whimsical fae energy, quite childlike sometimes, it's got beautiful energy. It does give a good reading. It does give you a good reading. So that is another one I love to pull all the time. And like I said, I'm just glad I got to know that before I had trouble in my eyes, because I would never have probably got to know it as much as I have done, and come to love it like I have. So my third one is one that I only got quite recently, the Tavern. But since I've got it, it's just one of those decks I just love to get my hands on. Okay, it's the backs. I love the colouring. And because it is so rider weight, it's just one of those decks that you know as soon as you pull the card what card you've got in your hand. And though I love the rider weight system, I'm not a fan, and I've said this before, I'm not a fan of the artwork. It leaves me a bit cold. I learned with the you know, traditional rider weight deck, but to read with, you know, I do find it, the images just don't do nothing for me. They just leave me a bit cold, but they're a brilliant deck to learn with. And you know, if I get a deck what is very different to the system, then it's very good to have do a side-by-side comparison, because you know, when you learn the rider weight, as soon as you get a card, you know exactly what it is. You know that image, there's something in your brain, sparks a memory, and they're great for that. It's just for me personally, to do readings, I just like something with a bit more beautiful images, if you like, which I don't find in the rider weight decks. But yeah, this is gorgeous, and like I said, it's just so close to the you know, the rider weight decks that you know as soon as you pulled it what it is. And it's a lovely deck, and like I said, it's fast become one of my favorites to pull. So that is my number 3. So that's the Tavern. And even though I only got this a couple of months ago, I've worked with it constantly since. So the next one is another one with the same kind of, from the same system. It's the Ethereal Visions. This deck is beautiful. I love this deck. There's the backings, the cardstock I love as well. I love the gold foil edging in them. I love the imagery. And again, it's just one of those, you know straight away when you pick it up what it is. You have got a couple of extra cards in there that you can take out or keep in, the well, and I can't remember what the other one is. But I keep them in, and I found that they work really, really well. So this is an 80 card deck. But I love this deck. It's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. And this is one I do like to pull quite often. Like I said, it's lovely when it's all out as well. They look beautiful together. It reads really well. People seem to like this when I use them in spreads. I mean, look at that. Gorgeous. Do you know what I mean? I love the tones of the moon. I mean, look at that. I love the tones of the colouring and that. And I even like the back and the borders. You know, it doesn't matter about them because at the front there is no borders. So, again, that is a deck that I've been loving to pull since I got it in the summer, and that's always going to be one of my favourites, I think, along with all the others. I can't see any of these being replaced, to be fair. And lastly, this is another one that came a fan favourite of mine in the summer when I got it, and this is Guillermo Marchetti, and it's the Tarot Grand Lux. Good cardstock again. There's the backs. And again, this is one of those, you know as soon as you pull the card which card you've got. But I just love the imagery of this one. And this reads like a dream. It looks gorgeous, all laid out in a spread. Again, this is very popular. Very popular when I do readings for people. Very often I'll double layer my readings, and I'll always end with this one because it is so clear. I mean, I just love these. I know not everybody is a fan of Guillermo Marchetti's artwork, but you know, we're all different. We all like different things, and this one soon became a firm favourite of mine. And it's one that I pull all the time. And I do love it. So that is my 5 decks of 2019 based on the decks that I love to pull and the decks I do pull, whether that's for my daily draws or reading for other people or doing myself spreads. The only problem I have is choosing which one I'm going to go with, because I love them all. And just like there's so many of my other decks that I love, you know, I've just picked these 5 because these are the 5 I've found I've gone for more often than any of the others. But yeah, so there we go. So that is the Tarot Grand Lux by Guillermo Marchetti, and I love it. So that is my 5 tarots. Thank you for watching. And eyes allowing, I will come back to do my 5 oracles. That one is going to be a bit of a nightmare for me. I probably own more oracle than I do tarot, and I use an awful lot of them, and I love an awful lot of them too, so that's going to be a bit more difficult to choose 5. But hopefully I'll be back to do that before Christmas, eyes allowing. Have a lovely day. Speak to you soon. Bye.